Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna. So this is day 30, the final day of our walking Parikrama. Tomorrow is Purnima, and tomorrow we traditionally, there are many initiations, there's a big yagya, etc. It's called Homa. Everything becomes sort of a mood of gratefulness and thankfulness that we've actually completed our Kartik Brat. But it's the completion of the Chatumasya Brat. It's the completion of 4 months. For example, tomorrow we can take honey. Tomorrow we can take tomatoes. We can take eggplant. We can take so many things that we didn't take for 4 months. So it's a special day to break the Brat. But the point of these Chatumasya and Kartik, which I've mentioned before, is that if we perform some Brat, then, and we've felt some reciprocation from that, we should try to keep it going. This is really, it's to teach us how to control the mind more. So what is the purpose of these various restrictions? It's to help us control, just like on Ekadashi, we have to be more controlled about what we take, etc. We don't just take anything. So the whole 4 months, we've been more controlled in our habits, etc. So this has given us some strength. So now in the Katyani Brat next month, we can be more careful about all the aspects of our bhajan and be more focused. If you chanted extra rounds, perhaps you'd like to keep those rounds going. There's no need to stop everything. Don't think, oh, now the Brat's over. Try to see it as it was an opportunity to practice, to become more self-controlled, because self-control is the principle throughout Shastra. It's talking about indicating without self-control, without controlling the mind, then nothing spiritually can transpire. We can't go to the higher regions of consciousness. It's just not possible. So today we're not actually going anywhere. We're just going to hear about some glorious Vaishnavas. Bhugarbha Gosvami, Kasisvara Pandit, and His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj. So we're going to hear these personalities today. But first we'll have our kirtan.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prasthatyad Shatarine Nama Om Krishna Padaya Gaura Prishtaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Munindra Vrinda Vandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prashana Bhakta Panchajani Kunja Bhuvilasi Rajendra Bhanu Nandini Rajendra Sundari Jadakarishya Sihamam Kripada Kakshavachanam Ashoka Vishwavallari Vikana Mandapasite Pravala Vala Pallava Pravadunandritomale Paramaya Suratyare Prabhu Tasambadalaye Rajarishya Sriyama Privata Dakshavachanam Anandamandala Prasanga Mangura Guram Savigramam Sasambramam Digantadana Nirantaram Vashikita Prakiti Nandanandane Karagarisya Sriyamam Kripada Dakshavachanam Suvarna Chandaka Pradikta Gaura Vigrahe Mukha Prabha Parasva Jodi Sharadanduma Agale Vichitra Chitra Sanchana Chakora Savalakshane Duragarisya Sriyama Kripada Dakshavachanam Adiyonale Pramoda Mana Mandite Priyanuragurangite Kalavilasa Mandite Ananya Danya Kunjaraja Karma Koli Kovide Jagakarishya Sriyama Kripata Dakshavachanam Valavira Hira Arabhusite Prabhuta Sata Tumba 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 Susteni Prashasta Manda Hasya Chana Purna Shokya Sahare Ragarisya Srihamam Kripada Dakshavachanam Mala Mala Vallari Taranga Ranga Dorlate Ratagralasya Lola Lila Lakshana Balote Rallulam Nilam Manogamu Mohana Shrite Karakarisya Srihamam Kripada Dakshavachanam Bhajanam Srivana Malikan Shita Triveka Tambukam Tadir Trisukramandali Guna Triratna Sarola Nila Kuntala Prasuna Gocharam Virkajragarisya Siyama Pripata Dakshamadjaram Vandamana Pushpa Mekala Dure Prashasvarana Kalata Madhya Manjaleka Indra Sundarandika Varoha Sonaduruke Kadakarisya Siyama Pripata Taksha Bhajanam Mantrada Manjaro Parada Vaskolat Samaja Raja Hansa Vansa Nitranati Dorave Vilola Hema Varari Vidam Vicharu Kankame Kadakari Sasiyama Pripada Tasha Bhajanam Ananta Kosi Vishnu Lokanama Padma Tarshite Imadriga Puloma Chabirincha Jabarabade Aparasi Vidita Sarpanangulinake Radharisya Siyama Pripaka Taksha Bhajanam Mateshwari Sriyeshwari Swareshwari Sureshwari Viveka Bharatishwari Brahmana Shasvaneshwari Rameshwari Sameshwari Pramoda Chandaneshwari Rajeshwari Vijayani Radhike Namaste Iti Mama Pujam Sava Nishamya Bhamanandini Karoti Santatam Janam Pripata Takshamojanam Vavetsadaiva Sanchita Trirupa Kamanasvanam Vavetada Chandra Sunu Mandala Praveshanam Tadakarishya Shiyamam Pripaka Takshabhajanam Sucharu Vatsa Mandalam Sukarna Ratna Kundalam Sucharchitanga Chandanam Namami Nandanandanam Sudirga Netra Pankajam Shikishikanga Mojajam Alanga Koti Mohanam Namami Nandanandanam Sunasikanda Moktikam Svachanda Danta Pantikam Navambudanga Chetanam Namami Nandanandanam Karena Renu Ranjitam Gati Karinga Janvitam Tukula Pita Shobhanam Namami Nandanandanam Sundaram Tataduti Sudakaram Amulya Ratna Bhushanam Namami Nandanandanam Sugandha Anga Saurabham Nuro Virachika Shubham Purachri Vatsalanjanam Namami Nandanandanam Vrinavana Sunadaram Vilasamudavasasam Surendra Garvalocanam Namami Nandanandanam Pradyangana Sunayakam Sada Sukhapanayakam Jayamana Pralobanam Namami Nandanandanam Srinandanandanandanam Patedya Shraddhayam Vita Tared Bhavan Hindustaram Lavekaram Viyonapam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanam, Namami Nandanam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gora Gaura Premanandi, Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhavika Gridhari, Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai, Radha Gopinath Ju Ki Jai, Nityananda Rai Ki Jai, Satchinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Vrantharacharya Ki Jai. Jai Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Kokopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Jamuna Ki Jai. Brihat Mridanga Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Nam Bhajan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai. The Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Gopishwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Antadweep, Mayapur, Simantadweep, Gautandweep, Madhyadweep, Koladweep, Ritajit, Janadweep, Modandweep, Rudreep, Abhanaganavadweep, Dham Ki Jai.
Bandirvan, Badravan, Bailvan, Lohavan, Mahavan, Madhuvan, Talvan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, Vrindavan, Kadyavan, Kamyavan, Vraja-mandala Ki Jai, Vraja-mandala 2023 Ki Jai, Udaja Vrat Ki Jai, Niyama Seva Ki Jai, Chaturmasya Vrat Ki Jai, Tirabhav Srila Bhugarbha Gosvami Ki Jai, Tirabhav Kasisvara Pandit Ki Jai, Tirabhav Bhakti Pramoda, Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj Ki Jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Golda Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Prabhajantamana Petyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabo Vinidustam Sarvabhutam Vridimunamatoshmi Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartano Kalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundarata Dikatamba Sadipita Sadashadare Kandare Swadatu Vasachinandanaha Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Vajami Radam Aravinda Netram Smarami Radam Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radam Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katina Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And today especially I'm offering my Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj, who is Tirabhav we are going to be celebrating today. And I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to all our divine Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord. My Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. So today is the Tirabhav of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj, but it's also the Tirabhav of Bhugarbha Gosvami and the Tirabhav of Kasisvara Pandit. So I'm going to glorify both of these divine personalities first, and then I'm going to request our dear Nrsimha Prabhu to glorify Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj. And if there's time at the end, I can offer a supportive Pushpanjali of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj. So we don't hear a lot about Bhugarbha Goswami. We always hear about him specifically in connection with Lokanath Goswami. Bhugarbha Goswami is the paternal uncle of Lokanath Goswami. Lokanath Goswami, he comes from what is now the area of Bangladesh, and his father was a Goswami, Padmanabha Goswami was his name, a very elevated Vaishnava. So his father's brother is Bhugarbha Goswami, who had been in that tradition since birth. So obviously a most exalted personality. And Bhugarbha Goswami's spiritual identity is Prem Manjari. Prem Manjari. So we can understand who it is that we're glorifying today. We're glorifying Prem Manjari in the spiritual realm. So when Lokanath Goswami came to have darshan in approximately 1508 or 1509 just prior to Mahaprabhu's taking the sannyas ashram. Then Mahaprabhu requested Lokanath Goswami at that time to go to Vrindavan. This is what Mahaprabhu could ascertain, that Lokanath Goswami is like a Bhajinanandi. He's not, we talked about this in connection with Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Mahaprabhu could ascertain that was his nature, and adhikar was to perform exclusive bhajan. And also Lokanath Goswami's heart is described as being very soft. And Mahaprabhu knew that it would really trouble his heart to see him shaving all his hair, etc., and taking on the renounced order. So he ordered him at that time to go to Vrindavan. But it's described that perhaps Lokanath Goswami at that time took direct initiation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is generally not initiating anybody. Gadadhar Pandit was delegated to initiate all of Mahaprabhu's followers. So many followers. So it's described that, I'm not sure about this, it could be that Gadadhar Pandit directly initiated Lokanath Goswami, but he certainly initiated Bhugarbha Goswami. Definitely Gadadhar Pandit initiated Bhugarbha Goswami. And Bhugarbha Goswami, when he heard his dear, it's described that these two, Lokanath and Bhugarbha, are in two different bodies, but completely one single spirit. They were the greatest of companions, the greatest of associates with each other for their whole life. So when Bhugarbha heard that Lokanath Goswami was going to Vrindavan, immediately he volunteered to also accompany him. So the two of them, they come to Vrindavan and begin performing their bhajan and their Guru Seva to the mission of Mahaprabhu, which was to uncover and renovate the holy places of Vrindavan, to rediscover. Vraja-mandala, the great-grandson of Krishna, had manifested many deities within the forests of Vrindavan, all of Braj, across Braj, we've been hearing for the last month. So many deities he established, Vraja-mandala, and in Mathura also. And due to the course of time, they had become covered over, especially since the Muslims had come and they had had to bury them, etc., or hide them in different locations. So the Goswamis, they were all coming specifically to put Vrindavan publicly back in people's consciousnesses, because it had been completely covered. Mahaprabhu, his desire was to give Braja Ras, Braja Prem. So this Braja Ras and Braja Prem is totally different to what had been practiced previously. What had been practiced previously is the Vaidhi-marg line. And very little Rag-marg was being practiced, as we've discussed many times, because without understanding the nature of Parakiya Bhav, then you can't really enter into the Vrindavan pastimes. The Vrindavan pastimes, the whole backdrop, the dynamic of it, is based on this Parakiya Bhav, this mood of their unmarried a relationship with each other, all the secretive rendezvous, etc. The whole Vrindavan backdrop is based around this principle. So if you can't come to accept this Parakiya Bhav, how can you really accept Braja Ras and Braja Prem? It's not in Swakiya. Radha and Krishna publicly were never married. They had the Gandharva ceremony at Mandirvan where they got married. And Krishna, he married all the gopis when he was manifesting as the Gopas during the Brahma Vimohan Leela. But publicly, he was not married to. And for the dynamic, as we heard the other day, Purnamasi, Yogamaya, is arranging for Krishna not to be married. because she knows to increase the height of the ecstasy that this Parakya mood should be prevalent. So Bhugarbha and Lokanath, they come into Vrindavan and begin to travel all around the different forests. And it's described, it's very little information is actually given about Bhugarbha Goswami, except that he was an extremely compassionate, virtuous personality. And it's described that his only desire was to perform seva to Radha and Govinda. And he was always joyful in his heart. This was a quote that is there. But there's very little about Bhugarbha separately. We should understand that when Lokanath Goswami arrived in Vrindavan, he had only had a short time with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he hears that Mahaprabhu has gone traveling for 6 years in South India, or 4 years in South India. So immediately Lokanath goes to South India. And it's not written that Bhugarbha Goswami accompanied him or not. I don't know for sure whether he did, but it's quite likely that Bhugarbha Goswami would have accompanied Lokanath to South India. And then they heard when they were in South India, oh, Mahaprabhu, he's gone to Vrindavan. So they immediately turned around, and months more walking, because we're talking about a long distance here, they arrived back in Vrindavan. And to their great misfortune and unhappiness, they found that Mahaprabhu had been there and he'd left. So then it's described, Lokanath Goswami describes that he was going to follow Mahaprabhu to Prayag. He heard that he was in Prayag. But then he had a dream where Mahaprabhu entered his consciousness and told him, no, you stay here now. You stay here now and do bhajan. So perhaps Bhugarbha was with him when on that South Indian tour that they went. And certainly Lokanath would have informed Bhugarbha not to follow Mahaprabhu, because they didn't. They stayed, remained. And they waited for the association of Rupa and Sanatan and Raghunath Das later on, and Gopal Bhatta later on, and Raghunath Bhatta, these other great Goswami associates. And then Bhugarbha, it doesn't describe much about his places of bhajan, but we know that his samadhi is quite prominent in Radha Damodar temple. When you're doing the parikrama of Rupa Goswami's kutia, his bhajan kutia and his samadhi, and you come around in the corner, and there's a samadhi there. This is Bhugarbha Goswami's samadhi. It's like the end place where we turn around to do our parikrama. Now it's a little bit more elaborate. I haven't seen it for a little while, but now it's definitely prominent. We have to circumambulate. Like there are many samadhis there, more than 64 samadhis, but we don't always have time to examine them all. But Bhugarbha Goswami's, his samadhi is quite prominent. Every time we see it as we come around, it's there. So that's where his samadhi is, and we're celebrating today and praying for the mercy of this personality who is Prem Manjari, which means he was an eternal associate of the Lord in Manjari Bhav, in this mood. All the Goswamis, they are all in this mood of Manjari Bhav, because this is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. He hasn't come to give just the potency of the holy name, although he gives that potency to give us power to understand the more esoteric reasons for Mahaprabhu's advent. Rag Mag Bhakti Loke Karite Prajan. He's come to give Raganuga in this world. This is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. The first reason, of course, is that he's come to taste his own prem. He independently wanted to taste that prem that Sri Radhika could perceive within him. So he takes the mood and kanti of Radhika, these three desires, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanaiva, Swadyenat Buddha Madhurima Kidrisho Madhya, Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Vidilovat, Tad Bhavadya Samajani Sachigarbo Sindhu Galindu. These are the three desires, but they're all indicating Krishna's desire to taste his own prem through the mercy of Radhika. What does Radhika see in Krishna that makes her go and embrace a tamal tree? What makes her just hear a peacock cooing and completely become in ecstasy? What is it in Krishna that transforms Radhika's life? Krishna himself doesn't know what it is. He wants to know what is Radhika's feelings towards him. What is that madhurima, this adbhuta madhurima, astonishing sweet qualities in him that Radhika perceives. Try to understand these points, because this is the principal reason for Mahaprabhu's advent, and we are all under the shelter of Mahaprabhu. We're under the shelter of all his associates, this Sangopangasta Parsadam. All his parsads are guiding us towards the fulfillment of the option that we have of attaining Manjari Bhav. We cannot taste or experience Gopi Bhav, because a Gopi in Sambhog Ichamayi, this means a Gopi who enjoys with Krishna. How special is that you have the adhikar, that you can enjoy with Krishna? Those Gopis, they've all manifest directly from Radhika. They're Kaivyuha of Radhika. So we cannot aspire for that identity, but we can aspire for the gift that Mahaprabhu has come to give. This Swa Bhakti Shriyam, this is what he's come to give. This is why he's come. So personalities like Bhugarbha Gosvami, Prem Manjari, like Lokanath Goswami, and of course we know with Lokanath Goswami, he instructed Krishnadas Kaviraj, don't mention my name in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you mention my name, I will not give you any ashishvad, no blessings whatsoever. So Krishnadas Kaviraj was compelled not to mention the name of Lokanath Goswami. He practically doesn't even mention the name of Bhugarbha Goswami also. So they had this desire to simply do bhajan, focus on that as the example. So we get great inspiration from that. So this is something of the understanding of this great personality, Bhugarbha Goswami, that we're celebrating today. So as I say, there's very little information. We can imagine what 500 years ago, there was no recordings of their movements. There was no database or anything like that, where they were going, how they were singing, what they were doing, etc. And they deliberately weren't leaving anything to glorify themselves with, both of them. So Bhugarbha Goswami ki jai. And now there's Kasisvara Pandit. Kasisvara Pandit is the direct disciple of Ishwara Puri. When Ishwara Puri Pad was leaving this world, the spiritual master of Mahaprabhu, the disciple, Ishwara Puri, the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, when he was leaving this world, he instructed his two principal sevaks, that was Govinda Das and Kasisvara Pandit, to go immediately on the demise of his body to take shelter of Mahaprabhu and render service fully to him. And it's very interesting to understand who these two personalities were in Krishna Lila. Both of these personalities were cowherd boys in Krishna Lila, and they were both exceptional sevaks. So I want to read from this Radha Krishna Ganadesh Deepika. Exactly, these two people, their names are Bringara and Bangura. Bangura is Govinda. Bangura Das or Bangura Gopa. They've made a mistake in the very beautiful book by Bhakti Pramoda Maharaj of all the different associates, and they give the names of all the different identities in the spiritual world, but they've made a mistake and they've called it a gopi. He wasn't a gopi. Neither of them were gopis. They were gopas. So somehow or other they've made the typo. So I hope people just pass me that book behind you so I can hold it up and let people see what I'm talking about. So in this book, which is a very, very beautiful compilation of so many saints and so on, but they've made this error as far as the identity of these two personalities that we're describing today. They've called them gopis, but they're gopas. And here is the praman for that. It's in this book, and it's saying that this is the section about Krishna's servants. So his servants are quite particular personalities. So it's saying that Bangura and Bringara, and then Sandika, Garila, Raktak, Praktak, Patri, Madhukanta, Madhubrat, Salika, Tilak, Mali, Man, Maladare, and different personalities. They're all called Chetas. That is their delegated group of the Sakhas. These Chetas are totally dedicated to serving Krishna when he's in the cowherd field or when he's anywhere, basically. So Govinda and Kashish Pandit, they fall into this category. They are Cheta Sakhas. C-E-T-A. That's how you pronounce it, Cheta. And they carry Sri Krishna's possessions, such as his Venu, horn, murli, stick, and rope used when milking the cows. So they're always with Krishna, moving around with Krishna. And they're 100% sold out to just fulfilling every requirement of Krishna, fully in Dasya Bhav, totally in this mood. So this is who is Kasisvara, Pandit, and Govinda. And when Ishwara Puri leaves this world, Govinda Das, as we know when we've read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Govinda is mentioned so many times as the principal sevak of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He comes immediately on when Ishwara Puri winds up his pastimes, then straight away Govinda Das comes to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. And sometime later, some months later, perhaps even a year later, Kasisvara Pandit, he comes. He does a tour of South India. Kasisvara Pandit is from a very high-class Brahmin family. His father is a Bhattacharya. A Bhattacharya means that you're fully conversant with a single Veda, one of the Vedas completely. You can recite it fully. That gives you the qualification to be a Bhattacharya. Like Raghunath Bhattacharya, that's his qualification. So his father was Vasudev Bhattacharya. That was his father. And they lived just north of Calcutta. They had their temple, their place. So he was a very scholarly personality, but he was first a sevak. He understood all the conclusive truths, but in his heart, he was a very large, physically strong personality. Kasisvara Pandit was very strong. And his service to Mahaprabhu would be always to clear the crowds. When every day Mahaprabhu would go to the Jagannath temple, there would be hundreds of thousands of people would come and want to see Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was manifesting total ecstatic symptoms. So naturally everyone thought, like they think today in India, they call them the God men, right? There are various, they show a little bit of mystic ability, and then straight away you've got hundreds of thousands of people. But Mahaprabhu was fully Krishna himself, so you can imagine the crowds that he attracted. But Kasisvara Pandit would always put the crowds aside very gently and allow Mahaprabhu to go to the temple without any bother. So this is one of Kasisvara Pandit's services that's described in the Shastra. And also, he would always serve the prasadam when they would have various feasts with all the devotees. He would be, there were 7 people who were delegated to serve. Swarab Damodar, let me just see if I get all these. Swarab Damodar, Jagadananda Pandit, Damodar Pandit, Gopinath, Vaninath, and Sankar, who's the brother of Damodar Pandit. So these devotees we've all heard of, we all know them, we read many times in the Chaitanya Charitamrita about these. These are very elevated devotees. So Kasisvara Pandit was one of those 7 who was delegated to serve, because serving prasadam is a very well-tuned service. You have to know how to keep the devotees fully satisfied with the speed with which you're serving, or the slowness which you're doing, and the quantity you're putting on the plate, etc. There's a whole dynamic to serve, satisfying all the devotees, to serve them nicely. So Kasisvara Pandit, he did this seva. And in his, as I've said, this Chaita Guru, and yes, when Govinda comes first to Mahaprabhu after leaving Ishwara Puri, or Ishwara Puri has left this world and Govinda's come straight to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu is unsure whether to accept their service, because they're his senior god brothers. They served his divine master, Ishwara Puri. So he's unsure whether he should accept this service or not from them. So he turns to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and who's there at the time in Puri, and he says, what is the correct etiquette here? These are my elevated god brothers. How can I accept their menial service to me? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, the order of the Guru takes precedence, and Guru has ordered these 2 people to come and serve your lotus feet. So this is what you have to accept the order of your Guru in that sense. So then, because of this, Mahaprabhu will accept the service of Govinda and the service of Kasisvara Pandit, because they serve in a very menial way, especially Govinda. Govinda never leaves Mahaprabhu. He sleeps outside his door. He's with Mahaprabhu every second, wherever he goes. He never is separated from him for a moment. When Mahaprabhu is moving out, there are so many intimate pastimes about Govinda and his dedicated service. We remember the pastime when he wanted to massage Mahaprabhu's legs after his midday kirtan and his taking prasadam. Then Mahaprabhu comes into his room in the Gambhira. Gambhira is a very small room. When Mahaprabhu lies down, he has to lie down diagonally, and it fills the whole room. So this particular day, Govinda wants to, because it's a tradition that every single day Govinda will come in. This is every single day for like 18 years. So realize how familiar the whole service mood was. It's not just a week or 2 or a month, it's 18 years. Mahaprabhu is there in the Gambhira, and he's been served by Govinda Das practically that entire time. So Mahaprabhu will have no inconvenience whatsoever for his prasadam or anything. And then Govinda, he wants to come in, but Mahaprabhu is lying in the doorway. And Govinda begs Mahaprabhu, oh, please move a little bit so I can get in and massage your leg. And Mahaprabhu says, I can't move a muscle. You do whatever you want to do, but I cannot move. He's just lying there. So Govinda, he's asking again and again and again. And Mahaprabhu says, do what you want. And he just starts to rest. And then Govinda, he puts his chadar across the body of Mahaprabhu, and he steps across the body of Mahaprabhu, and he enters so that he can massage Mahaprabhu's legs. And then Mahaprabhu, after about 40 minutes, he wakes up, and Govinda is still sitting there, because normally what the tradition is that every time Govinda had finished this massage, he would go and take the prasadam himself. But this time he hasn't. He's still sitting there. So Mahaprabhu says, Govinda, why didn't you go and take your prasad? And Govinda says, well, you were lying in the doorway, so I couldn't get out. And then Mahaprabhu said, well, how did you get in? And Govinda, it's described, he doesn't say anything. He just very humbly looks at the ground. And then Mahaprabhu says, you should have got out the same way you went in. And again, Govinda doesn't say anything. And the understanding is that Govinda will commit a possible aparad to serve the Lord by massaging his legs. He'll commit an apparat, but he won't commit an apparat for his own sense gratification of his tongue. He won't climb over the body again for his own sense indulgence to take some prasadam. You understand? So this is the dedication of this personality, Govinda. And Kasisvara Pandit was the same mood, absolute dedicated. Because in Krishna Leela, they're like Krishna's shadow practically. They're always with Krishna, carrying his buffalo horn, his rope, etc. These his venu, his flute, even carrying his flute and his murli and his stick. So they're always with the Lord in that sense. So they're his eternal servants. So this Kasisvara Pandit is certainly an elevated personality. And I'm so happy today. This is the first time in my life I've ever been able to glorify him or speak him publicly. Normally we just gloss over him and we don't mention really much either of these two personalities because there's not a lot to say about them. But we can appreciate their mood of both of them by understanding their eternal identities in the spiritual world as these cowherd boys fully in dasya ras and the way that they would serve the Lord to his full satisfaction. Especially all the pastimes of Govinda are described most clearly. There was a time when Mahaprabhu heard that beautiful Geet Govinda being sung by some Jagannath Dasis. They were singing, young girls, in beautiful melodious voice, completely captured Mahaprabhu's mind. And he ran to embrace those girls. And he was running really quickly, really fast. Mahaprabhu was a very large personality. He was more than almost up to 7 feet tall. And he was running very fast. And somehow Govinda managed to tackle him down and said in his ear very loudly, "They're women singing. It's a lady singing." And Mahaprabhu, he just stopped dead. He said, "Govinda, you've saved my life. If I had kept running, I would have embraced those girls for sure. And my whole mission would have been broken." So Govinda performed many pastimes like this. And sometimes Mahaprabhu was very apparently hard with him. One time in the Jagannath temple, when Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy, standing by the Garuda Stamba, he wouldn't go close to Jagannath anymore after the first time he was in. And one lady, she became totally overwhelmed in ecstasy and climbed on the shoulder of Mahaprabhu and was looking at wanted to get a better darshan like this. And Govinda immediately got the lady down. And Mahaprabhu chastised Govinda, "Oh, you low-born Sudra man, you know, don't you have any culture? This woman has so much eagerness. She has so much lobe to see the Lord. This is what we want. We want this. You're just a low class." And he chastises Govinda like this, you know. But of course, Govinda is quite happily going to take that because he knows what is etiquette, and he knows what is Mahaprabhu's heart. So many examples is given, but Kasisvara and Bhugarbha, they both mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita as being, especially Kasisvara Pandit, as being limbs of the trunk of the Chaitanya tree. They're specifically branches of the Chaitanya tree. This is described in chapter 17 of Antilila, all the different branches of the Chaitanya tree. So Kasisvara Pandit is described there as being a prominent personality. So those two glorious personalities we've said a little bit about, but our main personality today that we all are familiar with is our beloved Pujapad Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj, who walked amongst us just recently. So many of us will have had his darshan, will have had different pastimes to say about him, but our Nrsimha Prabhu, he will speak today and glorify our beloved Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalayai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Sisimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namane Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamane Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj Dinamane Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So just something about that last prayer, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, we have a condition where we offer that prayer when we see other devotees. So it's almost like, oh, it's something we offer other devotees. But actually, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, we're offering our prayers to all the sadhus, all the gurus, all the, you can say, Siddha Purushas, the Mahabhagavat Vaishnavas. And we're asking their blessings because really, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Graham Indriyai. With this material mind and senses, we can't approach the spiritual plane, anything. So who am I? I'm just a conditioned soul, materialist. So how is it possible I can glorify? I have words, anything to approach such personalities? We don't. So in the same way that when we go to Gangaji and we offer our prayers and our respects, our gratitude, everything, what do we offer? Gangajal? She is giving herself what we can give to her. So by the mercy of the Vaishnava, we are able to say something in glorification of them. Otherwise, not possible. So I owe something to Srila Puri Maharaj in as much as I had a very dear friend when I was in ISKCON for many years. We were very close. And then we both left. And we kind of lost touch pretty much for years. And then occasionally, then at one point I got this call from him. And at the same time from another devotee, he was a Prabhupada disciple. But this very good old friend, he said, Srila Narayan Maharaj is coming. You really should go and see him. And I thought, okay, it's been suggested before, I never acted. Now my dear friend Jagadish Prabhu, Jagadish, he is saying you must go and see him. And then I understood from Jagadish, I already knew, he had become initiated by Srila Puri Maharaj some years before. But he was seeing Srila Narayan Maharaj regularly. So by his kindness, I went to see Srila Narayan Maharaj, who became my Diksha Guru, like that. So thank you, Jagadish Ji. Thank you, Srila Puri Maharaj. So some years ago, I heard one of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj's prominent disciples speak, offer Pushpanjali on his Vyasa Puja, and that was Srila Siddhanti Maharaj, who was one of those amazing Vaishnavas who was first with Srila Puri Maharaj, and then and trained very strongly by him, and then with Srila Gurudev, and then with Srila Bhaktivigyan Bharati Maharaj, who was very close sevak to all. And in his Pushpanjali, he was saying when he came to the Mat, Gopinath Gaudiya Mat, he was immediately engaged in serving Maharaj. And he and the other servants, they had a room nearby. And he said from that room, we were in earshot, because if Maharaj needed anything, He said, so many times I would awake, because I'm always ready to wake, just in case Maharaj needs something. So we all realized it didn't matter what time of day, what time of night. Always you could hear Maharaj chanting Hare Krishna. All day, all night. Maharaj said he would sleep half an hour, 1 hour a day. Like Haridas Thakur, same quality. The pure devotee, Paramahansa, either Bhajananandi, Goshtianandi, doesn't matter. Fully Krishna conscious, like that, fully absorbed. And he said that Maharaj would get up and then he would, after some time, he would do his Anika, his Gayatri mantras. He said he would take half an hour. So absorbed. I was saying to Maharaj earlier, I do it. It's conditioned soul. Half the time I can't think what mantra I just did. But he is so absorbed, so conscious. And then he had this little box and with all little compartments, and in each compartment it had several packets of sacred dust from so many holy places. And Maharaj could take the whole morning just taking out each packet with great reverence, opening, taking a little dirt, maybe putting a little on his tongue or on his head, and offering prayers and being completely absorbed in those pastime places. It could be all morning. So Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj was a most senior member of the mat. He'd come to Srila Prabhupada at a fairly young age. He'd been a very successful student at college. He'd switched from science to the arts, but then he met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati immediately. And very quickly, Srila Prabhupada gave him Harinam and Diksha. This is not ordinary, because so many devotees were coming to Srila Prabhupada and they would be there 1-2 years before even getting Harinam. What to speak of Harinam and Diksha together and so soon. And almost immediately, Srila Prabhupada could immediately understand who this person is, what his adhikar, what his propensities. A very pure soul, very high family he came from. And he made him editor of the daily Nadya Patrika magazine. And Srila Puri Maharaj, he asked him, what does being an editor entail? What is my service? What should I do? And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, this is showing how he recognized this personality. He said, when you have an order from the Guru to do service, that you take to your heart, then you will realize internally everything you have to do and how to do it. This is a very elevated state. And very quickly, Srila Puri Maharaj, for some reason his brahmachari name is slipping, Pranavananda brahmachari. Very quickly, he also became editor of more publications. And after Srila Prabhupada left, he was writing so many articles, different publications of different acharyas like Srila Bhakti Dayata Madhava Maharaj. They were also requesting you please write and edit for us. So he's very, very much absorbed in Srila Prabhupada's mission of beating the great Mridanga. For over 75 years, he was publishing. That was his most intimate service. He never gave up. Even when he's much older, his body was, if you've seen pictures when he's older, his body took on a very hunched mood. And he couldn't sit up properly, and his hands were shaking. He used to have very beautiful handwriting as a young man. Now his writing is it wouldn't matter. He was still doing it because in this way, he's completely situated at the lotus feet of his guru in the seva mood. So he also wrote many books of his own. The Heart of a Devotee, which is so much about humility, very beautiful book. He was so respected by his godbrothers, very senior acharyas. Everybody would come to him if they had any question, they would ask him. And he had his bed where he was always sitting. He never laid down practically, just sat. Even to sleep, he would just be resting a little. It's half an hour. He had a big cabinet of books. and somebody came in, they would have a question, and he would say something like, on the third shelf, the fourth book from the end, you pick up that book. Now go to page 46 and third paragraph, and your answer will be there. He knew the books, talking about, knowing the Shastra, right? What's the
Erudite.
huh?
Erudite.
Oh, just extraordinary. Shrotriyam tadvigyanatam sagarun eva bhigachat samadpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. That if we want to make advancement in spiritual life, this is one of those key verses. If you want to make progress, real progress, anybody can come to a temple and make progress, of course. Take prasad, be in a kirtan, Jai Haribol. You must, eva bigachet, this is a Sanskrit word it's like a very emphatic, it is absolutely imperative. Not you could or you should, you must. What? If you want this tad vijnanartam, this vijnana artam, this highest wealth of realized knowledge of the Supreme, Saguru, you must take Guru. And who is Guru? Samatpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Samatpani Shrotriyam, it means they have heard perfectly. They know Shastra, but the Samatpani, because they have come with straw in their mouth, in the mood in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvati Pranipatini Pariprashtana Sevaya, they've come in the mood of complete surrender to Guru in the disciplic succession. So there must be the mood of complete surrender to Guru in the disciplic succession. And they are hearing, there's nothing in the way. They're hearing, they're open, they're filling up constantly, to the point that they are Shrotriyam. They know all Shastra, they know all the conclusions, and they can resolve anybody's doubts, answer anybody's questions. And what an example. Any question, this book, that page, this paragraph. What? That's a mystic power. That's a real mystic power. So just on that, there's another great disciple, sannyasi disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. I remember reading about him. And one time he was in an area and all the villagers were very excited because this mystic yogi was coming who could walk on water. And he'd spent, 30, 40 years doing great austerities. And this disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, he told he said, what is the use? He spent 40 years austerities to walk on water. I can spend 40 pice and the ferry will take me over. This is not the goal of life. All these mundane siddhis. So this is a real siddhi. Or like our Srila Prabhupada, Swami Maharaj, he said, when he said, so Swamiji, you yogis, you mystic, you do miracles. What miracle have you done? And Prabhupada is perfect disarming. He said, I have turned all these hippies into happies. And of course, the question is immediately laughing, so sweet, disarmed. But that's really an incredible mystic power. I mean, he changed, we know who we were. Your Indian bodies, it's a lot different for you. We know who we were. This is an incredible mystic power, topmost mystic power. So, yes. So something about this knowledge that Srila Puri Maharaj has, this is a very important consideration. Because when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta began to manifest as Acharya Leela, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj observed, and sometime later in giving a glorification of his Guru Maharaj, He said, you have to understand, Srila Prabhupada took on the entire world single-handedly. He challenged, he attacked every thought process, every belief that in any way, shape, or form obstructed, challenged, distracted people's minds from pure bhakti. He took on the atheists, he took on the Mayavadis, he took on the Arya Samajis and Brahma Samajis, he took on the Bengali intellectuals, he took on the British, he took on the Christians, he took on the sense enjoyers, he took on the Shaktas, he took on the Smartas, he took on the Goswami, he took on everybody on his own. So powerful and strong. He's a one-man unbeatable army. They were all scared of him. When Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was walking down the street, if the Mayavadi Swamis saw him, they would run away. If they didn't run, he would regularly run up to them, jump on their shoulders, and beat them. What kind of a personality is this? This is a transcendental personality. And back then, there were so many deviant forms. What to speak of all the Shaktas and the Mayavadis, the Vaishnavas, the worst of all. A wolf is a bad thing for sheep, but when a wolf is disguised as a sheep, how much worse, how much more dangerous. The sheep don't realize there's a wolf amongst us. So the deviant sects that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had codified, there was one, was it Bhagavad Babaji? I don't remember who it was that actually identified, named, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur listed and described 13 Apasampradayas. Our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, back in the 30s, expanded that list to 65. God knows what it is today. It's like, there's one, it's like, how many people are on the street, right? And I really, because we're the same. Now, in our own Gaudiya Vaishnav community, if you listen, and not too deeply, to what so many devotees are saying, it is like, are you kidding me? This is absolute rubbish. Glorifying Ramakrishna, glorifying all the different... I just read today, one devotee put up an article, Sanatan Dharma is so wonderful because everybody has their place. There are 4 main sects of Sanatan Dharmis. The Shivites, the Shaktas, really, the Smartas, and the Vaishnavas. Where does this come from? Sanatan Dharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes clearly. What is Sanatan Dharma? It is also Nitya Dharma. It is also Jiva or Jaiva Dharma. And properly it is called Vaishnavism. And the whole meaning of Sanatan Dharma is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivara Surupahaya Krishnara Nitya Das. Bas. That is Sanatan Dharma. The identity, the spiritual identity, the Swarupa, the form of the self, the eternal spiritual identity is eternally the servant of Sri Krishna. Not Mar Durga, Lord Shiva, the great light, and your Brahmin family for the last 5,000 years. This is not unusual. And the modern mood is that, well, there's 2 things happening. The first thing is, Hare Krishna devotees have taken a lot of attacks. Now, Prabhupada said that would happen. He said, in the beginning, they will like us, they will laugh, but once they realize what we're saying, they will hate us. And he's talking about the demons, because after all, the Hare Krishna movement is Lord Chaitanya's weapon to destroy the demonic mentality, which in Kali Yuga exists in everyone. In Kali Yuga, the demon and the devotee live in the same body. In Satya Yuga, they're on different planets. So they get closer, closer. Same family. Now, same body. So it's very natural that preachers are going to get attacked, criticized, abused, slandered. Our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati that inaugurated the preaching mission is a perfect example. We have to learn to follow in his footsteps. We have to be ready to speak the truth boldly. Our Srila Prabhupada was the same. He said, I have never compromised. I will not compromise. That is our guru. I will not compromise. And he got that from his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. No compromise. Take no prisoners. Huh? So, what happens as a result of being so strong, and in the early days, the devotees that came to Prabhupada were amazing. They were amazing. They were so innocently in love with and surrendered Prabhupada. He empowered them. He would, just think of this, he would send young couples who've maybe been in his association, the movement, for a few months. He would send them, Americans, to another country, open a preaching center. Here's a few dollars and a plane ticket. Jai Shri Prabhupada, and off they went. How are they doing this? This is incredible. And they did it in England. Well, England's a little bit different. That the story in England is amazing. But France and Germany and Sweden and all over, Italy, Spain, unbelievable. While Prabhupada was here and constantly, and they're all just like, yeah. But especially after Prabhupada left, and devotees' faith and sadhana and so many different factors coming into play, and the, well, to be simple and to be blunt, the disobedience towards Prabhupada's instructions at the end, that really cut the power. You know, you can't have faith and be disobedient at the same time. What does that mean? What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything. So when the Guru makes arrangements, you hear from my own Shiksha Guru, my god brother, and you take direction from our Srila Narayan Maharaj, and then they don't do that, and they make themselves Guru, and they isolate the whole community, and they make offenses to Mahabhagavats, then the potency gets less. The faith is weakened. I'm not talking numbers. If we want to talk numbers, the Catholic Church is way more potent than ISKCON and than us. They've got the numbers. So's Chinese communism. And so's Mick Jagger. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. The potency to inject Krishna consciousness in the line of Sri Rupa, aiming towards Shuddha Bhakti, that consciousness where a devotee can go into a land that's completely demonically overruled and start a temple on his own. That consciousness cannot be there when the faith is being destroyed. So what happens as a direct result is that now the preaching is afraid. The preaching is no longer, tell the truth, please my Guru, please Lord Chaitanya, say what's in the best interest. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta spoke about this. He said, Jiva Himsa, violence to the soul, is not vegetarianism. Ahimsa, excuse me. Himsa is not violence to the body, it's violence to the soul. That means that for any reason, failing to preach what is of the highest benefit to the soul, for the sake of pleasing or gaining the approval of karmis, anyabalasis, mayavadis, pashandis, the people, gaining approval. See, when the preaching starts to look at how to win the approval, you get lots and lots of people, but you're being violent. So, because this faith weakened, the potency weakened, The concern of the preachers is, how can we be more palatable? For years, we've been under attack because we're so self-righteous and dogmatic, and we say we know what the truth is, and we're the only ones, and sectarian. Yes, those criticisms, you can make those from a Yatatat Tatapat, which will, Yatama Tatapat, will mention what that is in a minute. You can make those criticisms, but they are medals for a devotee in the line of Bhaktisiddhanta. You have upset and infuriated the Mayavadis, the Pashandis, the cheating scientists, the cheating politicians. You must be saying something right. I'm worried when I see, oh my God, we're friends with all these Mayavadi leaders. They love us, they invite us. That means we are not doing our job. So the preaching took a turn of appeasement, of demonic mentalities. Atheism, Mayavadism, India's gone to the moonism. You want to trust Indian CNN or Srila Prabhupada? They cannot go to the moon. They cannot go to the moon. And now you've got all the devotees in the temples in India fawning. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Modi and the astronauts. This is wonderful. You should rip off those saffron clothes. Put on Congress hats. Nonsense. So, in this mood of kowtowing to every damn thing, the truth isn't very important. We don't know what the philosophy is anymore. Sanatana Dharma is Shaivism and Shaktism and Smarta Brahmanism. So the other thing that accompanies this is not studying the books. This is not something that only the old fogies did. Oh, you know, they're all Indian, Bengalis, and it was an intellectual culture, but they're all gone now. Srila Pramoda Puri Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, they've all gone. We don't need, we know better how to preach today. They're all out of date. They're not Trikaligya, they're not eternal personalities. They're just, you know, socially and culturally conditioned old men that don't know anything. And the same with the old guard of their disciples. They don't know anything. We know. We know how to win over the hearts, not with philosophy, self-righteous, this is true, this is false, da, 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 da. This is what's happening. So we should take very, very, very seriously the examples of the acharyas, who are samatpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. They have heard eagerly and submissively, they've taken it all in. And they can speak that absolute truth. Absolute. It is not relative. You can adjust the language for time, place, and circumstances, but the truth is not relative to those. The truth doesn't change. Our Srila Prabhupada said, if I've been successful, it is because I did not change anything. And he said to us Westerners, you all have the change disease. And that is what is happening. Changing the books, the philosophy, everything. Changing every damn thing. Except being honest and changing their clothing so they don't pretend to be representing the Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. That's what they should change. So, anyway, talk more about Srila Puri Maharaj, who was gentle and humble, but don't think for a moment he wasn't a completely staunch advocate of these things. Because we have different, all of us, different mentalities, we have a different language. You can speak Hindi or Punjabi. He speaks Bengali. I speak American English. Ruined, Maharaj speaks English. So we can speak our different language to our people. but the message is the same thing. Message is the same thing. So now to read some beautiful things from here. I already said that. It's far up. Oh, this is wonderful. This is an awesome story. So once Guru Maharaj, this is Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj. He's offering a very long Pushpanjali to Srila Puri Maharaj, who he had a lot of association with. So when he says Guru Maharaj, he means his Guru Bhaktivedanta Madhava Maharaj. Once Guru Maharaj sent me a letter when I was in Kolkata. He wrote, to commemorate the appearance day of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Sri Puri Maharaj is arranging for a festival to be held at the Ananta Vasudev temple in Kalana on Maghi Purnima. Maharaj had been given this temple by a local king who was just very satisfied. What an awesome devotee. And Maharaj was very happy to have more deities to worship like that. He's very, very dedicated to deity worship. So it would be good, Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhavraj is telling Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, if you could assist Srila Puri Maharaj. I've also asked Sri Krishna Keshava Prabhu, Sri Madhu Matana Prabhu, Sri Vinoda Bihari Prabhu, and others in Mayapur to join the festivities. When I reached Kalana one day before the festival, I saw that the devotees Guru Maharaj had mentioned in his letter were already there. Also present were Dr. S.N. Ghosh and Dr. Naveen Ranjana Senagupta, both of whom were disciples of Srila Prabhupada and residents of Calcutta. That evening, I asked Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Maharaj, is something wrong? Because I noticed there's nothing to cook. There's no bogar at all. It's the day before a festival. Nor are there any cooking utensils. There are not even flowers with which to decorate the temple for tomorrow's festival. What has happened? So we all know, we've all been in devotee association in temples. We know what happens when a temple's coming up. Weeks before, there's all the emails coming out, can you give donations? And we want to buy this and that. And then different devotees are assigned. This is a planned event that we're all depending on our intelligent planning. And, if we ask money in the right ways, we're depending on ourselves in many ways, and we're getting it done. And the day before the festival, everybody knows what their duty is. Everything is there. It's in place. Not this time. Can you imagine? Really? I mean, I've been in positions of responsibility and management in the kitchens and so on in big temples. This is like, are you kidding me? There's nothing. There's no boga. There's no utensils. Nothing. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj just replied nonchalantly, oh, because there's two of them. They operate together. Him and Sri Ananda Leela Maya Prabhu. One day, one would go out begging bhiksha, and the other would cook and worship the deities. The next day, they would switch. So these two together. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj just passed the buck on, oh, Sri Ananda Leela Maya Prabhu never mentioned anything to me. And then listen to what he says. He said, I suppose these things will be managed somehow. It's just amazing. Feeling dumbfounded, I thought, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, Srila Maharaj has invited so many people to this festival. But he's not the slightest bit worried that as of yet, nothing has been arranged. Moreover, I do not understand why Srila Maharaj has mentioned Sri Ananda Leela Maya Prabhu's name. To the best of my knowledge, Sri Ananda Leela Maya Prabhu was never made responsible for arranging anything. He's the same as Puri Maharaj. They're just simple, humble Vaishnavas, just begging for bhiksha and totally absorbed in worshipping the deities. No thoughts of anything else. Who knows what deep bhav, what confidential mood Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj must be experiencing. But although I tried, I was unable to ignore my concern. I asked Sri Ananda Leela Maya Prabhu about the situation, but I was unconvinced by his reply. So presumably it was along the same lines as Srila Puri Maharaj. Yes, no worries, everything's happening, not a problem. So I returned to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj and I asked Maharaj, when and from where are the ingredients for preparing bhoga to arrive? Srila Maharaj replied, I cannot say, but I have firm faith that by the will of Bhagwan, everything will be just fine. We can't even do it. There's two of us and we want to have lunch and, you're going to cook or I'm going to cook and we realize we don't have any bhoga. And if you said, don't worry, Bhagavan will everything will be fine. What are you talking about? Go out and shop. And this is a big festival. Thousands of people are coming. So Srila Bharati Maharaj responds, certainly. He's not going to argue with Srila Puri Maharaj. But then I asked, is it possible to borrow large pots and cooking utensils from anyone nearby? Srila Puri Maharaj replied, oh, Shri Prakriti Bhushan Dutt lives close by. He's the chairman of the Kalana municipality and has many such items. You can ask him. Early the next morning, on the day of the festival, I went to the house of Sri Prakriti Bhushan Datta and I knocked on the door. When he sluggishly approached the entryway, I realized I'd just woken him. I first offered my apologies and then explained the reason for my visit. Without asking any questions or saying anything, he called for his servant, gave him the keys to the room where the pots and utensils were kept, let him take whatever he needs. After I brought all the necessary pots and utensils to the mat, all the devotees cleaned them. In the meantime, a couple of persons had brought a few meager ingredients for cooking bhoga. A few persons had brought a few meager ingredients. The amount was far from sufficient. But now you can catch, although Srila Bharati Maharaj is glorifying completely Srila Puri Maharaj here, you can catch his mood is non-different because this is what he does. After I placed large pots of water on the stoves to boil, I sat back and waited for more ingredients to arrive. So he's actually got the same mood. You're cooking lunch. I see you've got water on the boil. Very good, no problems. Bhagwan will arrange everything. This is pure devotees. They know Krishna will arrange everything. So Maharaj sat back and he waited for more ingredients to arrive. And within a very short time, people began to arrive one after another, like a line of ants, offering scores of items like jaggery, sugar, probably not putting in the same container, rice, pulses, flour, vegetables, milk, curd. Suddenly there was no shortage at all. The mat appeared as if it were a grocery. Seeing the abundance, I was reminded of a verse from Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana parupasate teshang nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vaham yaham. 922, for those who are devoid of other desires. You see, this is the key. For those who are devoid, Ananya Bhaktas. This is why this is inconceivable to us. Who are always absorbed in contemplating me. Just like Maharaj mentioned what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said about his guru, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, when he was observing, he said, if I'd noticed even for one moment in 24 hours, he was not absorbed in Krishna, I would not have accepted him as guru. Not only 23 hours, 59 minutes, even one moment not. So for those who are devoid of other desires, who are always absorbed in contemplating me, and who always worship me, I personally carry their necessities and preserve what they presently have. I considered myself fortunate to witness such a practical example of this verse before me. My bliss knew no end. More. Maharaj is filling it out, but that's the essence.
The end of that pastime is very significant.
You're talking about that there was enough boga in the matcha.
And what was Srila Puri Maharaj's reaction to that?
Oh, he says, he doesn't actually say
Even
anything
though there
else here, but
seemed
he
to be
quotes the
abundance,
verse.
even though there seemed to be abundance, enough to last them
Oh, he was totally.
so many months, but he was as unconcerned with that as he was concerned with this. So
Yes.
on both ends,
Yes.
it's significant.
Yes. Exactly. Unconcerned with either, which is
Yes.
in Bhagavad Gita, the two opposites.
Yes, either. Yes.
Always equipoised.
Yes.
Either abundance or lack,
Yes. Yes.
honor, dishonor. Yeah, exactly. Didn't make any difference.
Mm.
He was just doing the same as always. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is also a beautiful pastime, and then I'll be done with this one. Actually, did you want to tell that one, Maharaj, the one about the Jagannath Rath Yatra?
No, you don't.
Well, because there's another pastime that is shorter, that's very special, and it really reveals Maharaj's heart, because humility, he really stressed humility, and he wrote that the heart of the Vaishnava, the heart of devotee. So once my god brother, this is again Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, so he is the nephew, spiritual nephew of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri. So he's saying his god brother, Sri Vishnu Das, that also a nephew of Srila Puri Maharaj, later known as Sri Bhakti Vivek Paramarti Maharaj, and I accompanied Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj on a train from Kolkata to Puri. While the train was standing on the platform at Howrah station in Kolkata, a wealthy man, in the presence of many other passengers, spoke to Sri Vishnu Prabhu in a rude manner, cursing at him and calling him many derogatory names. The nature of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj exactly mirrored scripture's descriptions of extraordinary personalities. Vajrad api kotarani mriduni kusumad api. Harder than a thunderbolt, Vajra, softer than a flower. When the same wealthy man who'd cursed Vishnu Prabhu tried to offer pranami to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, in whom the qualities of sweetness and softness were prominent, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj manifested his quality of forcefulness and strongly rejected his offer. He told the man, "You have committed Vaishnava aparad. What to speak of accepting an offering, I do not even want to speak or to keep any relation with a person like you." The wealthy man said, "But Maharaj, I want to serve you. Please be merciful and accept this small offering from me." Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj said, "If I accept service from you, I too will be implicated in your offense. I will never accept anything from you." Despite his insistence, the wealthy man was unsuccessful in his attempts to persuade Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj to accept his offering. Unfortunately, he was unable to pick up on Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's subtle hint that he should ask forgiveness from Sri Vishnu Das for his offense. And on this note, again, just to repeat, we may have all kinds of anartas. We may be very sinful. We may have so many faults and flaws. But I've read from Srila Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Keshav Maharaj also, if one has Guru Nishta, if one knows that his Guru is a perfect descendant of Sri Krishna's mercy, is 100% spotless, faultless Vaishnava, pure devotee, intimate associate of the Supreme Lord. If he has this Nishta, it is guaranteed in not very much time he will achieve the supreme destination, regardless of all this stuff. However, the one thing, the one fault that's not included in the list of sinful proclivities is that offensiveness, not just towards Guru, towards Vaishnavas. And as Vaishnavas become more and more, then it includes all living entities. They have no envy, criticism, judgment, anything towards any living entity. But to criticize the Vaishnava, to commit offenses to the Vaishnava, destroys spiritual life. It dries out completely that little tender little sprout of bhakti. Finished. Doesn't matter how many rounds you chant, how expert your tilak is, how well you smile in public while leading kirtans and speaking and worshipping deities. It's all external. If there's any mood of offending Vaishnavas that you haven't acknowledged and begged forgiveness, at least of your own Guru, who can represent all Vaishnavas, and knowing that we've committed so many offenses anyway, unconsciously, we still go to our Guru and say, please forgive me for all the offenses I've committed, willingly or unwillingly, consciously or unconsciously. I'm yours, please protect me. So as soon as a spiritual group makes offenses to Vaishnavas, the potency, it's like cutting the electric cord. And Srila Puri Maharaj very much stood for this mood of extraordinary, humble appreciation and service to and love of the Vaishnavas. Whether so-called junior, senior, he didn't see a difference. Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj ki jai. Panchakalpaturbhischa kripa sindhu virjabhidhanam namadevi Vaishnavevi Om Namo Namaha.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'll leave that. Turn it around. So thank you so much, Nrsimha Prabhu. That was most instructive, most enlightening, and most glorifying of our beloved Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj. He was the epitome of humility himself, which encapsulates all of the qualities that you've spoken about. In every action of his life, from the very beginning, getting this seva that you described, this Nadia Prakash, Dainya Nadia Prakash, this daily newspaper, which was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's idea to produce and publish the news of the transcendental quarter every day. And we know the past time when one professor challenged him, how are you going to possibly manage this? And then he was saying, every day all over the globe, so many newspapers are published about mundanity, the mundane material world. And yet this is only a fraction of the entire existence. The spiritual world takes up much more volume than does this tiny, petty material world. So we can publish a magazine every hour, what to speak of every day. So the principle of this is that he entrusted Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj to actually stay with this. And as you said beautifully, he stayed with it for 75 years of his life. He never stopped those publications. And if he wasn't publishing himself, he would be inspiring someone else to publish. But he himself was always doing the seva. Simultaneously, he was worshipping his Thakurji. Simultaneously, he was performing his sadhan bhajan. So in every single sense, and his relationships with all the devotees from the Gaudiya Math at that time was so bonding and friendly. And he would go from mutt to mutt. He didn't begin his own mutt until much, much later, when he was repeatedly requested to start the Gopinath Gaudiya Mutt. So we have so much joy to be chanting his glories today. And certainly this beautiful book that you've quoted a couple of times, this Heart of, what was it called? The Heart of the Devotee?
Heart of the Devotee.
Yeah, something like that.
Is it Heart of the Vaishnava?
Heart of the Vaishnava, yeah. I'll publish it on our WhatsApp very soon. We have it on a PDF. I think it's on my website already. But that mood of humility, which he embodied, he embraced totally, and his dedicated seva, and the principle that you've already said this, which is why I'm not going to repeat too much, but this Guru Nishta. He took the instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to perform this seva for his entire life and never stopped. This was his connection with the spiritual realm, his seva. So if we're fortunate to get some direction or directive from Guru and we can maintain it, that is the most fortunate gift that we can hold on to for our own life. So on this particular day, I think to remember the extraordinary, humble qualities, the moods of respect, tarorapi suhishena, respect for everybody, amanina manadena, fully, and his dedicated seva and his dedicated sadhan couldn't become more exemplary than this. So I'm really thankful to Nrsimha Prabhu for giving us such a graphic appreciation of Srila Pramoda Puri Maharaj. So we'll end here our Vraja-mandala Parikrama classes, because tomorrow is the Purnima and we'll be breaking our various ruts that we've taken on, and we'll be celebrating our future, our regenerated future. Don't think this is the end. My Gurudev always used to say, now we should be thinking this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the next year. This is now Katyayani Vrat coming, December. And actually in our Western calendar, the new year will begin just in a month or so's time at the end of December, right? So we should be considering how am I planning to support Mahaprabhu's mission? And these principles that we're ending on this note of humility, of dedicated seva, and Guru Nishta is the principle. Without this Guru Nishta, then nothing else can transpire. So Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Gosvami Maharaj ki jai, Arupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gauda Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vansha Kalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavaya Vacha, Patitanam Pavinabai Vaishnave Yonamaha. Thank you, sir.
Hari. Nama Vishwarang Satchidanandarupam Lasat Kundalango Kule Rajamanam Yashodabi Oluka Lavavamanam Param Vishnamachanta Kotikagosya Judam Prabhunetra Jumam Vijantam Karam Bhoja Yognena Sapam Kanekam Moho Shwasa Kampa Trivekam Kakanta Sita Gaya Damodaram Vidanta Iti Pritsalila Devananda Kunde Gosvami Majanta Magyapaya Tadiya Shikageshu Bhakta Gitatvam Puna Prematastam Shadam Divande Varam Deva Mokshanam Sabadimva Najayati Mehalvaya Nikam Deva Purnasa Gopalavaram Sadamanasya Virasantamanta Nikam Demo Gamodam Jatanila Nikam Dele Smita Dasavaya Gosvami Tandimba Rakavarambe Manasya Virasya Mayanakshara Namo Deva Pramoda Vishnu Prasidhata Bodhuta Jayakima Kripa Drishti Vishyati Dinambatano Yamashama Bhagam Veratma Jomagha Jayagha Oyamati Bhakti Pramoda Jata Prema Bhakti Sakramay Payacha Namaste Ome Sri Namo Namaste Chudame Sodha Rama Swati Adaraya Vishwasya Namo Radhikaya Kadhiya Priyaya Namo Mangaliraya Suraya Dojam Namo Radhikaya Kadhiya Priyaya Namo Mangaliraya Suraya Dojam Joya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Joya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Joya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Joya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radha Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radha Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Jaya Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Jaya Radhe 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 Jaya Yashina Radhe 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 Jaya Yashina Radhe Radhe Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Nitya Jaya Haribo, 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 Nitya Jaya Haribo, 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 Haribo,
Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai,
Jai.
Nantakota Vaishnava Vrinda
Vrinda
ki
ki
jai,
jai.
Gaura Premanandi.
Haribo.
I'd just like to thank all the devotees for coming so consistently onto this link and joining us each day, because without you, we wouldn't have been inspired to have actually done this parikrama. So I'm very grateful for you all participating by watching. And I'm most grateful to Rasamanjari for doing the videoing, and for our dear Gora Gopinath for backup in so many ways, and especially to our dear Nrsimha Prabhu, who performed the kirtan every evening for 30 days. So this is most commendable, and we're very grateful. And more than ever, I'm just grateful to my beloved Gurudev for allowing us to actually do this and come together. if there's any success from this program, it's only coming from my Gurudev. My Gurudev took the Vraja-mandala Parikrama himself for 60 years. So he has inspired us to become affectionate so much towards Vrindavan and all the Parikrama places. So it's only by his mercy that anything has been achieved during this 30 days of Kartik. So I'm very much indebted and grateful to the mercy of my beloved Gurudev for guiding us and carrying us through this Vrindavan Parikrama. So thank you very much. So please go forward. Nrsimha's words were very beautiful. It's very inspiring to conclude with Srila Pramoda Puri Maharaj's Tirabhav today and all that he represents, and to try and emulate such a great personality in our lives, because it's there in all of us. We said Jivara Sarupoi Krishnara Nityadas, the soul is there. It has the capability and possibility of igniting the whole world with love of God. We simply have to have the desire to actually do that, the desire, first of all, to follow and to incur the mercy. We've talked a lot about the two fingers trying to bind Krishna, the Kripa and the Chesta, the effort and the mercy from Krishna. So if we make the effort, then the Kripa must come. It'll bind Krishna by the intensity of our effort. And that mercy will come through Guru, through our Guru Vargya. So Srila Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Vargya ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gauda Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevacha, Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnava Namaha.